Well, to successfully create a YouTube channel, you must do 4 things incredibly well. So first, you'll need to create a theme for your channel. When you're first starting out, that's your first goal. It's what you must do first, okay? Second, obviously, you have to create some videos. That goes without saying. Third, you'll have to get views to your videos. And then finally, you'll have to develop what I call engagement, and that's extremely important. Part 1, your single theme channel. So to begin with, the very first thing I'd like you to do, really do not skip through this, and don't keep it up in your head and say, oh, I can remember that. No, don't do that. Take a piece of paper, a note card, a business card, a recipe card, whatever you've got, and I want you to write down the purpose of my channel is to, and in one single sentence, I want you to write down what the purpose of your channel is or will be in one single sentence, okay? Now, let's look at some examples, okay? So first, the purpose of my channel is to help people declutter their homes. Great channel, okay, right there. And then second, the purpose of my channel is to provide parents with craft ideas for children. Could be a great channel, okay? Now, there's a reason why I have you do this. The reason has to do with when I see newbies, beginners on YouTube trying to create a channel, and I go in and I look at some of the videos. Maybe they just created, 2 or 3 videos. Maybe it's 4 or 5 or a dozen videos. And I look at those. They've got a gaming video. They've got a cooking video, a how to make money online video, how to play the guitar video, family vacation video, a sports video, all these things. And this is a formula for disaster. This will never work to create a successful YouTube channel, okay? And the problem with that is if somebody watches one of your videos, just one of your videos, and they say, hey, I really liked that video. It was really good. I wonder if I go to their channel page, if they have other videos on similar topics, okay? And if they go to your channel page and they look and they see, a dozen different topics going on there, and they don't see more of the videos related to the first video they watched, they'll leave and you've lost them forever. But if they go to your channel page and suppose you had a channel about teaching people how to start playing, beginner guitar, and then they see you've got 20 more videos on the same topic. Each one is a little different, a different, topic, but they're all related to how to play the guitar. Then what can happen is they watch the one video, they go to your channel page, and they watch 1 more, 2 more, 5 more, maybe 10 more of your videos, so that one view can turn into 2 to 5, even 10 more views. And that's how you can grow a channel successfully and quickly by laser focusing all of your videos on one particular theme, okay? Okay, part 2, tips on recording your audio and your video. Now wait, please stop. Don't go overboard in buying gear at first, because I want to help you save some money when you're first starting out. Now, there are some potential expenses that you may incur when you get started with YouTube. So these potential expenses could include things like a camera, editing equipment, sound equipment, and lighting. But don't panic, I'll show you how to save money on each of these items. Now, these expenses depend greatly upon the type of videos that you'll be creating. For example, with screencasts, if you're doing a screencast recording right off your screen for like a gaming video, something like that, you won't need lighting equipment. You may need some audio equipment. You'll need editing equipment, and you probably won't need a camera because you're recording right off your screen. Now, with live action videos where you're recording yourself or someone else moving around, talking, whatever, there you'll probably need some lighting. You'll need some audio equipment. You will need some type of camera, and I'll show you some good options. And you will need editing equipment. So just keep those things in mind. Well, let's talk about researching your competitors' videos, okay? And basically, you should decide on a prospective title for your next video. What title do you think you'll use and put into YouTube to show next to your thumbnail image? This is extremely important. And then we'll do a search for that title on YouTube. Now, you may change your title as we go down the road and you learn some things, but for right now, we would make up a title. Do a search for that title on YouTube, and are competing videos actually getting views? That's important. And then we'll look at competing titles and thumbnail images to learn some things, and we'll talk about viewer comments at the end. Okay? Now, as an example for us to use here, let's pretend that we're going to make a video and you've decided on the title for that video to be how to fix a leaky faucet. Okay, so I used that title, how to fix a leaking faucet. Okay, and I went to YouTube and I did a search for that. And I looked at about, 20 or 30 different titles of videos, the first, 20 or 30 videos that came up searching for that. Okay, and then what I did is I just copied each title and I pasted it into this text document right here. You could put it in Word or TextEdit or Notepad or whatever. And then I go through and I look for words that seem to come up over and over again, words or phrases. Like quick and easy showed up several times. That might be something I want to include in my title. And things like leaking or dripping or leaky, there are different ways to describe a leaking faucet, things like that. And then, they would say kitchen faucet or bathroom faucet or outdoor faucet or, something like that. And I just went through looking for phrases that seem to come up over and over again in these titles. Okay? So then what I did is I took a new text document right here and I condensed these findings down. And for example, there were some very common words that showed up over and over again, like how to fix, dripping, leaking, fast and easy. Those are words, phrases that I might want to use in my title. And many of these included the names of the manufacturers of the type of faucet they were going to fix, like Moen or Delta, Peerless. There might have been some others, but those came up very frequently. And then often they would include the name of the location of the faucet, a bathroom faucet, a kitchen faucet, an outdoor faucet, or a shower faucet, things like that. I might want to include, what type of where the faucet is located. And then faucet types, many of these would say it was a single handle faucet that they were going to repair or a double-handed faucet. And this just gives me some good words and phrases that I might want to include in my title. And I strongly suggest that you do this to come up with the best possible title that you can. Okay? Well, now let's look at some thumbnail images. The very best thumbnails employ the following: curiosity, contrast, and more images and less text. Here's what I like to do when I do some thumbnail research to try to get ideas for good thumbnails for my videos. Well, I just come into YouTube, into my main feed right here, and I scroll through the page. But what I do is I go through and I look at different videos, okay, different thumbnails. And when I do this, if I see one that I really, really like, I like this one up here, what I'll do is on my Mac, I hit Command-Shift-4. That gives me a cursor that looks like this, and I can come up here and highlight that thumbnail. And what happens then is that takes a screenshot of that, and I'll move down, and there it shows up, okay, on my desktop. So I really like this. I'd like to save that, and what I'll do is I drag it into a folder that says Sample Thumbs, and I'll drag it in there. And inside, these are all thumbnails that for one reason or another, I really, really liked. Okay, and here's that one that I just grabbed. You can see that's in there. And then this gives me some ideas that I can go back to and, get some good ideas. What did I like about the text they use? What did I like about the colors? What did I like about, this and that? And it gives me just a library of good ideas for thumbnails that I might want to use, not copy, exactly, but just some different things that I might like to use in my own thumbnails. Well, here's the thumbnail image that I just grabbed that I showed you. And I really like this, and so I want to take a deep dive into this thumbnail and show you what I like about it, and maybe you'll learn some things that you can use in creating your own thumbnail images. Now, to begin with, before I watched this video, I was not familiar with this YouTube creator, And this is Layla Jirani, and her channel is amazing. She has 2.5 million subscribers. She's made almost 600 videos. And the amazing thing is, now this red up here and the red down here, this is stuff that I've added. You wouldn't see that on her channel page if you went there. But she has over 50 videos, each of which have over 1 million views. Some have 2, 3, 4 million views. But she is very clever. She is very good at what she does. She's a great communicator. And I reached out to Layla because I decided I wanted to critique her thumbnail image, and explained what I was doing in this video. She said, "Sure, Mike, go for it. You can use it if you'd like to." So thanks, Layla. I really appreciate that. And there's a link to her channel. It's Layla Jirani, but there's a link in the first comment below this video if you'd like to check it out. Now, when I look at her thumbnail image, the first thing that I noticed is curiosity. And remember, I mentioned that as one of the 3 things I look at in people's thumbnails. And look at this. It says, "Don't do this" at the top, and it says "shut down." I'm just thinking to myself, we've got to shut down our computer sometime, So that pulled me in. That got me to watch her video. So she had a great use of curiosity in her thumbnail image. And the next thing is, remember I said use more image and less text in your thumbnails. It should be mainly visual. Not so much text, but a lot of visual, a lot of image. And she did that, just a little bit of text up here at the top, and the rest is all graphics that her and her people created. So she nailed the second thing, right on the head as well. Now, the third thing is that I like about this is contrast, okay? And we remember from when we were kids, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet, the colors of the rainbow, okay, the colors of the spectrum. And what I want to do is, see, she has this bright yellow dress on and a light and dark blue background. And so this is a color wheel. It shows the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet as you go around there. And you can see that the yellows and the blues, which are in her image, are at opposite ends of the color wheel, which means there's a lot of contrast between those colors. And so she's getting a lot of contrast in here, and I like that. That really is an eye stopper. It makes you stop and look at her thumbnail image. Now, in addition to that, one thing that I did is I came in here and I took all of the background out of her thumbnail image, okay? Took everything out and replaced it with just a green color. And the reason I did that is because you can see that the yellows and the greens on the color wheel are right next to each other, meaning there's not a whole lot of contrast between yellows and greens, okay? And if she had used yellow and green in her thumbnail image, she wouldn't get nearly the contrast that she got when she had the yellow and the blue. So a lot of contrast, a lot of image, not so much text, and curiosity. So she did everything right in her thumbnail image, and you might keep those things in mind when it comes time for you to create your own thumbnail. Okay? Very good. Okay, well, a final note on this section. I suggest that you examine viewer comments from competing videos on your topic before you create your own video. Okay, so for example, I have a video that's called H4n Pro Audio Recorder. It's a review of this audio recording device. And one of the comments, I have, 300 or 400 comments on this video. Everybody liked it. But one guy said, very, very cool and useful video, super boot camp. I love the multi-track recording part. Happy you took the effort to lay down 3 tracks, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so he really liked it. And if I saw this, and I was going to make a video on this, I already did, but if I was going to make another, I'd make sure I included that topic in my video, because I had a number of people that really enjoyed that part of the video. So you can learn from comments on other people's videos, okay? And then here's one. I did a review of a Canon HFR 700 video camera. And this person asked a question in the comments below the video. Can you please tell me how to connect the camera to my laptop for streaming? Does a memory card need to be inserted? And I didn't cover that. Maybe I should have. I still had tons of good comments about this video, but this was just one where they had a question, a good question, and if I was going to make a new video on this topic, I would answer that question in the video. So I want to learn from both good comments and bad comments to help me plan the content for my upcoming video on that topic. You can learn a lot. You can learn a lot from looking at the comments on competing videos. Okay? Well, part 4, lighting for your videos. Begin with overhead fluorescent lighting, with ambient light coming in from windows, or a wide aperture setting on, say, a DSLR type camera, mirrorless camera. You may not even require any external lighting. Okay? Now, in a case like this, here's a young lady sitting at her computer. She's got lots of windows behind her and off to the sides, and she could get by shooting a video sitting at her desk, working on her computer, just like this, probably without any kind of external lighting. It just depends on how much light you've got coming into the room where you're working. Okay, now here is a case where this is some video I shot a few years ago, and for some reason I had lights, but I'm sure that I didn't have any studio lights on me because this came out way too dark. I don't know exactly what I was doing, but anyway, you can see right here, it's easy in your editing software, and we'll look at some different types of editing software you can use. It's easy to lighten a video clip like that up, just changing the brightness, the exposure in your editing software, so you don't have to throw the clip away. You can probably salvage it in the edit. And you can see right here the raw footage is very dark, and after I brightened it up in my editing software, it came out more acceptable looking. Now, this is the studio light that I got. I bought 2 of these when I got started on YouTube. It was about $70 for a 2-unit kit, but this is no longer available on Amazon, but they're very, very similar units for very similar prices that you can get. So here's something that I really like, and I use it just about every day. It's kind of pricey, but in my opinion, it's well worth the cost. This is a Neewer bicolor 660 LED video lighting rig. This is dimmable, goes from completely no light up to very, very bright light. If you've got a couple of these, you can get by, and they're just amazing. There's a bright white setting and a cool white setting. They're about $100 a piece on Amazon. And they're in different price ranges depending on how many LED lights are in these, but you check these out on Amazon because I highly, in 30 seconds you can have it from being all bagged up to setting up on a tripod and turned on and ready to go. Very easy to take with you, to set up and to take down. Now, another option are these ring lights. They're pretty inexpensive. This is only $39. A lot of podcasters use these. People that do live streaming and Zoom calls and things like that. They're not going to be as bright as some of these studio lights are, but they could get you by, especially if you're not too far away. If you set them up 15 feet away, they're not going to do much for you. But that is another option, and people do that. Now let me show you something you can do just with your smartphone that could save you from perhaps even buying any lighting equipment. So let me look at that. Let's look at that right now. Okay, well, here's a little trick you can use to increase the lighting if you're shooting on any kind of smartphone. Now, I've mentioned before I use an iPhone, so that's what I'm using in this example. But if you have an Android, I'm sure that you can do this. The buttons may look different, and but I'm sure you can do this on an Android as well. And I want to shoot a video. And let's pretend that I don't have any studio lighting, which I do, but I'm not going to use it here. And I look at this and I think, hey, Mike, this might work real well, but it's a little dark. Everything's going to come out a little too dark, I believe. If you come in here and just put your thumb or any finger on the screen and drag up. And when you do that, as soon as you do that, what you'll see is you'll see a little plus and minus button right there. And that controls the exposure. And if you touch that plus and minus button, then you get this slider bar right here. And you can see that if you slide back to the left, you can make it darker. And if we slide it to the right, you can see we can make it lighter and lighter, as light as we want to. And right here, before I adjusted the exposure, you can see it came out, it was quite dark. And after I adjusted it, it came out what I would say is probably acceptable. And I'd have to try it and see. But just keep that in mind, because if you don't have any lighting starting out, play with the exposure on your smartphone and see if you can get it queued up to an acceptable level. Okay, well, let's talk about how to get better quality audio from your smartphone. An iPhone, an Android, whatever. I have an iPhone, so all my examples are with an iPhone. An Android would work the same way. And here's the problem with the iPhone or any smartphone's built-in microphone. And I'm going to show you the problem and a great solution. So what I've got right here is I just did an iPhone recording. I just recorded a video. And I'm not going to keep the video portion when I edit this. I'm just going to keep the audio portion. But there's no external microphone. My phone is 8 feet away from me. You'll notice that this is a little tinny sounding. There's a bit of an echo present, and it has a very, very low volume. So let's listen to that. All right, right now I have my iPhone, and I've measured this out carefully. It's 8 feet away from me, and I'm recording using the internal microphones. Here is the solution to getting much, much better quality audio out of your iPhone, and that solution is using this product. It cost about $20, but it would be one of the best $20 you've ever spent. Now again, maybe you've got your own microphones you're using, but if you're just starting out on YouTube, try to save you some money. For $20, you can turn getting medium to poor quality audio out of your iPhone to getting great audio, okay? And let me show you what this looks like. This is a Imaging World lavalier 3.5 millimeter microphone, blah, 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 all that. This is what it looks like when you get this. There's a microphone you can see right up here, and there's a cord. There's a 20-foot cord, so you can get up and walk around with this if you need to. There's a windscreen with it. The end has a, on the very end, has a TRRS male plug, which can go into your iPhone. My particular, well, I'll show you that in a second. It also requires a 357 or LR44 silver oxide battery, and that goes inside of this control unit right there. Okay? And the problem is with my iPhone and with newer iPhones, they don't have a 3.5 millimeter port on them. They have just a lightning port. And so I had to get an adapter. Now you may, depending on the model and age of your phone, maybe you can plug this TRS plug right into your phone. If you can't, you'll need an adapter like this. These are cheap. These are $5 to $10 on Amazon, okay? And mine looks like this, and then over here in the blue circle, that's a lightning plug, and that would go right into the port on my iPhone, okay? So this TRS plug comes from the lavalier mic, the end of the lavalier mic. That goes in here. Okay, this little black unit that is built into the line on your lav mic, it's actually the condenser unit. This is a condenser mic, condenser type microphone, and that's has the battery inside of it. That's what powers this unit. There are settings that you have to be aware of. It says use this setting, and it says off/smartphone. And this little flipper right here has to be pushed all the way down. It has to go all the way down. There are 3 settings. There's one on the bottom, one in the middle, which is actually off, and the one on the top is if you're hooking it up to a camera. These settings make a huge difference. If you have it in the middle setting at off, you won't record any sound. If you have it on top, you'll get very, very, very bad low volume audio. So this needs to be pushed all the way down if you're hooking this up to a smartphone. Okay, if it's not set like that, you'll have problems. All right, for a $20 investment in a lav mic like that, it makes your sound, your audio 1,000 times better. So that's some ways to save money, just using your smartphone, using a lav mic plugged into it, and you can get great sound. Part 6, some money-saving ideas for cameras for your recording starting out. Now, when I started out on YouTube, I got this Canon Vixia HFR 700 for about $400. I used this on my first probably 8 or 10 videos, and it worked reasonably well, pretty good. It did require an external microphone to get good sound out of it. And then before long, a few months later, I got this Nikon D3200 DSLR camera for $500, and I got very high quality video for an entry-level DSLR camera. But DSLR cameras do come with a learning curve, okay, and it takes some time to get used to them. But to be honest with you, you can save money starting out just using your smartphone. I now usually use my iPhone to record all of my YouTube videos. Great quality video, they're easy to use, and you've probably got one in your back pocket right now. Well, let's talk about video editing platforms. You'll need to edit your videos. You may think that you don't need to, but you will. So let's look at that, and I'll try to save you some money by showing you some different options. Okay, so to begin with, I use a platform called ScreenFlow. I've been using it for 4 or 5 years now, and I absolutely love it. I'll be honest, it costs $169, so it's not free, and that is a major expense when you're starting out, and I understand that. The learning curve is not too bad. You can learn it quickly, and I have some videos on YouTube that are very complete tutorials on how to use ScreenFlow if you're interested. Okay, but here are a few free options, and when you're first starting out, I don't want you spending a whole bunch of money to get creating videos. So just for your own, good, you might want to check these out. One of these is, and you've heard of this, maybe you've used it to edit pictures and things, but it's Canva. And Canva has a free online video editing application that you can use. And a lot of people use that, and it's free, so that might be a good option for you when you're first starting out. Canva, it's free. They have pro and team levels, which cost some money, but basically it has a YouTube video editor, tons of tools, clips, and images you can use. They have templates. It runs on Mac, Windows, iOS, and Android platforms. So it's, has wide applicability. And there's a thing called OpenShot, and OpenShot is actually, it's kind of a neat little thing. You can use it online, and OpenShot is 100% free. There are no paid upgrades. You can just go in and use it. It's an open source application. It runs on Mac, Windows, and Linux platforms. The other thing is, if you have a Mac like I do, new Macs still ship with iMovie, and you can certainly use iMovie to edit your YouTube videos, and it's a great application. So if you've got a Mac and you've never looked at it, we'll check it out, because that won't cost you a penny. Okay, good. Why your retention rates and viewer engagement are vital to the success of your YouTube videos. Okay, let's look at an example. All right, well, I just logged into my YouTube channel, and you can see right up here, here's me. That's me right there, okay? And if I click on this, what I would do is go down to YouTube Studio. That's where it's got all the info on me. And if I come to content, it'll show my videos, and you can scroll through your videos and get all this stuff. Okay, so what I want to do is, let's come back here, and let me go backwards and come back into, okay, here's my home page, and I'm going to do a little search right here, and I'm going to search for well, let's search for H4n Pro. That's audio recorder that I use. Now see, this is a sponsored product right here, and mine is the very first one that comes up. There's probably 100 videos on this, and today it came up in the #1 place. It always comes up in the 1, 2, 3, something like that. So yeah, and what I can do then is if I click on this, video, okay, right here, and see what's going on. This ad is playing. This is a Pizza Hut ad, okay, and it plays, and this is how YouTube makes money, by running ads at the start and sometimes in the middle of people's videos. And Pizza Hut wants you to order a pizza there, and click on that, and over here it says video plays soon. So if we continue with this and let it go, see, right now we're getting where it says skip. If I skip, then it comes in and my video starts playing. So what I can do is, right underneath my video when I'm logged in, other people wouldn't see this, but it says analytics, and I can click on the analytics tab, and that comes in and it will show me, it says I've got 78,000 views, I've got 769 subscribers from this one video, and it just shows how your views have grown in the past, weeks, months, years, whatever. But what I really want to look at is down here, this analytics part right here. And what this shows is how many people are watching at different points in your video. Okay, it's always going to drop down. Okay, it's going to go down and down and down. This is, for me, this is maybe typical, but this is a long, hour-long video, and I don't expect people to stick around, all of them to stick around for an hour. And by the end, I've only got 9–10%, something like that down there by the end. But for most of the video, I'm not doing too bad. I've got 23%. It says average percent viewed, 19.6%. Now, see, I did get a big drop in the beginning, and you're always going to have that happen, no matter how good your video is. Maybe people don't like your hair, they don't like your shirt or your dress, they don't like the way you talk, they don't like, for whatever reason, a lot of people are going to drop off immediately or in the first 30 seconds or so. This says 61% of my viewers are still watching at around the 30-second mark, which is typical. So yeah, but what you want to look at is this, and you want this to be as high as possible. Some people will have 60–70% retention rates, especially maybe on gaming videos or something where they're really into it and they're going to watch the whole thing. But what you want to do is watch this, and anytime you see a big peak in this, like there's a little peak right here, and if I come in here, right here, and this is starting to go up right about here, and if I double click on this right there, then it'll show me up here, I can see what I'm doing in the video at that time.
An MP4 file, video file, which I could use. Maybe it's a YouTube video or wherever I want to use it, but I would be all...
Okay, so whatever I'm talking about there, the people seem to like, and you might want to keep track of that, because if you see big peaks, it means people are not only just watching that part of the video, they may like it so much they may go back and watch that part again, and again, because they're learning something or they're being entertained a lot right there. So sometimes you'll see peaks. If you see a peak, check it out. What did you do right there? And maybe you can do that in other videos you make. If you see a big dip in here someplace, then you need to look at that and say, hey, what was I doing there? Because people didn't seem to like that. A whole bunch of people dropped off at that big dip. And, whatever you're doing there, don't do that in other videos. Okay, so the longer people stay on your video, the higher your retention rate, the more engagement you have with your viewers, the more YouTube is going to love you, and the higher they're going to show your video in the search results. So that's extremely important. Just keep that in mind, okay? Begin your content immediately. The first 15 seconds are critical, and you can lose viewers fast if you don't engage them immediately. Number 2, if you're doing live face-to-face videos, look into the camera and smile occasionally. Sound enthusiastic and be happy. Speak quickly using inflection in your voice. Here's an example. Videos that you could upload to places like Vimeo or YouTube, maybe put it on a website, a blog, a social media site, or maybe create a video sales letter for some product or service that you have created. Ask rhetorical questions. Asking questions engages your viewers. It creates a connection. Let's talk about breaking your video apart into bite-sized pieces to make it easier to digest for your viewers. And one way you can do that is to incorporate graphics or text scrolls into your videos. And here you can see I was talking on the right-hand side of the screen, but on the left I put a graphic up, and it's just sort of a caption of what I'm saying there to emphasize it. And then a text scroll is simply something that looks like this, that scrolls across the bottom of your screen or any place you'd like to do that. And that's very easy to do in almost any editing software. Let's talk about breaking your video into bite-sized pieces. And we'll use transitions here to smooth changes between elements. Now, transitions can be created in almost any brand of editing software. I happen to use ScreenFlow, and I love it. Well, here's an example of a transition, and I use ScreenFlow to create it, but any video editing application can easily make transitions like this. So let's look at this girl. She's sitting there looking at the laptop, sitting in her living room there, and what I'm going to do is transition from this to this, where I zoom in, and this is called a hard cut because we're making a hard cut. I cut the video clip that I had, and then I stretched it out, and when this plays, right there, see what happens in this case? Bang. Now, the only problem with hard cuts, and sometimes you want these, but they can be a little jarring. It's like all of a sudden you go from here to here and like bang, whoa, that's pretty big. It's almost scary. So to overcome that, what we can do is start again with the girl, but this time we'll use a transition, and let's watch this. Right there. That's called a cross dissolve, okay? Let's watch it one more time. We went from here to here, but it's not so jarring. It's a smoother, we used a cross dissolve, fade out, fade in, and that's called a cross dissolve. That's an example of a transition. So common transitions, there are just zillions of these that you can use depending on what editing software you've got. So again, transitions make smooth, interesting changes from one clip or element to another, keeping viewers engaged in your video. Let's talk about breaking your video into bite-sized pieces for your viewers using what we call animations, okay? And animations generate a movement of an element on the screen. Let me just show you a quick example. This is an animation. I used a graphic that I slid in from the side, and then I slid it back off of the page, off of the video clip, and that's an animation. Now, I'm not trying to teach you how to do animations here because you do them slightly different with different editing software, but any good editing software will let you do animations like this. Now, here's an example of, this was a video clip I did one time, and I used an animation to give the appearance that I'm zooming in just to change the viewpoint a little bit. Okay. Now, another thing with animations that's done frequently is you'll see somebody talking in a YouTube video, and then they will move themselves down to a corner and put some text up in the upper corner off to the side someplace, so that you get sort of a double whammy. You get an image of you speaking, and you get to put some text in up at the top, or have a video clip playing in the background, whatever. But those are useful uses for animations, okay? Now, you can also create what we call a Ken Burns effect with an animation by panning and zooming simultaneously. Ken Burns was is still a famous documentary, historical documentary filmmaker, and he sort of introduced this effect in a lot of his documentary films, and that's where the name comes from. But let me just show you what this does. Remember, we're going to use an animation, and we'll pan and zoom simultaneously. So for example, here's a house, and what's going to happen in this animation, you'll see that I'm moving the house off to the left of the screen and zooming in at the same time. So a Ken Burns effect like this creates the illusion of motion in an image where there really is no motion. Keeps viewers entertained and engaged during that period. Hey, this is Mike, and my very, very best wishes to you and everything you do on YouTube. I know that you will do well. You guys take care.